What if I told you that the size of your dreams determines the size of your achievements? That your current reality is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts you've been holding onto for years? Pause for a moment and ask yourself, have I been dreaming big enough, or have I been settling for less because it feels safe? The truth is, most people never fail because they aimed too high and missed. They fail because they aimed too low and hit. Life has a strange way of giving us exactly what we ask for. If you only ask for survival, you will get bills barely paid, dreams left behind, and a sense of quiet frustration. But if you dare to ask for more, if you dare to think big, you open the door to possibilities you never imagined. Thinking big is not about arrogance. It's not about comparing yourself to others or showing off what you have. Thinking big is about expanding your vision, stretching your faith, and refusing to let your environment dictate your future. Think about it. Every skyscraper started with a blueprint, every successful business began as an idea, and every fortune started in someone's imagination. If your vision is small, your results will be small. But when your vision is bold, life finds a way to rise to meet it. But here's the problem. Most of us are trained from childhood to think small. Maybe we heard words like, don't get your hopes up, or people like us don't get rich, or be realistic. These phrases are poison to the mind. They shrink your capacity to dream and keep you trapped in mediocrity. Thinking big requires courage because it goes against the grain of what society teaches. But let me tell you this, the people you admire, the leaders, the innovators, the wealthy, they all started by refusing to accept small thinking. Jim Rohn once said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. That's the essence of thinking big. It's not about wishing for smaller challenges. It's about becoming the kind of person who can handle greater opportunities. When you expand your mind, you expand your capacity to grow. And when you grow, your results naturally follow. So how do you start thinking big? First, change the questions you ask yourself. Stop asking, how do I just get by this month? And start asking, how do I build financial freedom for the rest of my life? Stop asking, how do I earn a living? And start asking, how do I create wealth? The quality of your questions determines the quality of your answers, and ultimately, the quality of your life. Second, surround yourself with people who think bigger than you. If you are always the smartest or most successful person in your circle is too small. Big thinkers will challenge you, stretch you, and inspire you to reach beyond your comfort zone. Remember, small minds discuss people, average minds discuss events, but great minds discuss ideas. You need to be around great minds. Third, create a vision that excites you and scares you at the same time. If your goals don't make your heart beat faster, they're not big enough. A vision should wake you up in the morning with energy and keep you up at night with anticipation. Write it down. Make it clear. And then commit yourself to becoming the person who can make it real. Here's a practical exercise. Take a notebook and write down your 10-year dream life as if it already exists. Don't hold back. Describe your home, your income, your family's lifestyle, your health, your contribution to others. Be as specific as possible. Then look at that vision every single day. The more you see it, the more your subconscious mind begins to accept it as possible. Remember this, thinking big costs you nothing, but thinking small could cost you everything. The mind is like a magnet. It attracts what you focus on. If you focus on limits, you'll live in limits. If you focus on possibilities, you'll create possibilities. So today, I challenge you, take your thinking to the next level. Refuse to be satisfied with average. Refuse to live on autopilot. Your future is waiting, and it is far bigger than you've ever imagined. This is just the beginning. In the next part, we'll talk about how to start small, because while big thinking is essential, success doesn't come from giant leaps, but from small, consistent steps taken daily. So now that you've learned the importance of thinking big, let's talk about something that most people overlook, the power of starting small. Here's the reality. Big dreams without small consistent action are nothing more than fantasies. And yet, this is where many people get stuck. They look at their vision, financial freedom, a thriving business, a strong body, a life of abundance, and they feel overwhelmed. They ask, how can I possibly get from where I am now to where I want to be? And that fear of the gap between the dream and the reality often causes them to do nothing. But success doesn't require giant leaps. It requires small, steady steps. The wealthiest people in the world didn't become rich overnight. The healthiest people didn't transform their bodies in a week. Greatness is built through consistent small actions that accumulate over time. Think of it like planting a tree. You don't plant a seed today and expect a full-grown oak tomorrow. You water it daily, you protect it, and you give it time. That's how success works. Start small, but start today. Because small beginnings, when multiplied by time and consistency, lead to massive results. The problem is, many people dismiss the small steps. They say, "Oh, saving $5 a day won't make me rich," or "exercising for 10 minutes won't make me fit," or "reading for 20 minutes won't change my life." But they miss the point. It's not about the size of the step, it's about the discipline of taking the step. Those small disciplines, repeated daily, create habits. And habits shape your destiny. Let me give you an example. Imagine you decide to skip your morning coffee at the cafe and instead save that $5 every day. That's $150 a month, $1,800 a year. Invest that money with a modest return, and over 10 years you could have tens of thousands of dollars. That's the magic of starting small. Or think about your health. If you simply commit to walking 20 minutes a day, that's over 120 hours of exercise in a year. It's not about running marathons on day one. It's about creating momentum through manageable steps. The same applies to learning. Let's say you read just 10 pages of a good book every day. That's 3,650 pages in a year, the equivalent of 15 to 20 books. Do you think your perspective, your knowledge, your confidence would be different after 20 books? Absolutely. That's the compound effect of small daily action. Here's the key: don't despise small beginnings. Every great achievement started as something small. Amazon started in a garage. Apple started with two guys building computers at home. Your journey may begin with something simple, an idea, a small savings account, a side hustle, but if you nurture it, it can grow beyond your imagination. But let me warn you, starting small requires humility and patience. Many people quit because they don't see instant results. They plant the seed, water it for a week, and then give up because the tree hasn't grown yet. Don't fall into that trap. Trust the process. Small actions may not give you instant gratification, but they guarantee long-term transformation if you stick with them. So how do you put this into practice? Here are 3 steps. Choose one area to begin. Don't try to change everything at once. Decide, is it your finances, your health, your relationships, your personal growth? Pick one. Set a small, achievable goal. Something you can do daily. Save $5. Walk 20 minutes. Read 10 pages. Call one potential client. The key is consistency, not size. Track your progress. Write it down. Measure it. Because what gets measured gets improved. When you see your progress, even if it's small, it motivates you to keep going. And here's the beautiful part. Once you start, momentum builds. Small wins give you confidence for bigger wins. Success breeds success. Before you know it, those tiny steps add up to massive breakthroughs. Never underestimate the power of small beginnings. The world tells you to go big or go home, but the truth is, the way to go big is to start small and keep going. So, think big, yes, but start small. Because a 1,000-mile journey is not conquered in a single leap. It begins with one step, taken today. In the next part, we'll uncover how to act like the rich, not in terms of spending, but in terms of mindset, habits, and systems. Because wealth is not first a matter of money, it's a matter of thinking. Now that we've talked about thinking big and starting small, let's dive into one of the most misunderstood principles of success, acting like the rich. When people hear this, they often picture luxury cars, expensive clothes, or showing off wealth. But that's not what acting like the rich really means. True wealth is not about appearance. It's about mindset, discipline, and behavior. Rich people think differently, and because they think differently, they act differently. If you want to change your results, you must first change your habits. So, what does it mean to act like the rich? First, the rich prioritize assets over liabilities. The average person spends money on things that lose value: new gadgets, trendy clothes, entertainment. But the wealthy focus on things that grow in value: investments, businesses, knowledge. Acting like the rich means asking yourself before every purchase, is this an expense that drains me, or is it an asset that grows me? For example, instead of buying the latest phone every year, what if you put that money into a stock, a mutual fund, or a small business idea? Over time, The difference is massive. One path leads to temporary satisfaction, the other leads to long-term freedom. Second, the rich value education beyond school. The poor and middle class often stop learning after graduation. But the wealthy never stop. They attend seminars, hire mentors, read books, listen to audiobooks, and invest in their growth. Why? Because they know that money will never outgrow the size of their mind. If you earn $50,000 a year and want to earn $100,000, the first question is not, where do I find a higher paying job? The first question is, how do I double my value to the marketplace? When you become more valuable, through skills, knowledge, and discipline, you attract more opportunities. That's acting like the rich. Third, the rich master their emotions around money. Many people let fear and impulse control their financial life. They buy when they feel emotional, sell when they panic, and spend when they're stressed. The wealthy understand that emotions are the enemy of sound financial decisions. They learn to stay calm during storms, patient during waiting periods, and disciplined when tempted. This is why you'll hear investors say, be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. That's not just a strategy, it's emotional intelligence in action. Fourth, the rich plan long term. While most people think in terms of weeks or months, the wealthy think in decades. They don't just ask, what will this do for me today? They ask, what will this mean for me 10 years from now? Acting like the rich means delaying gratification today for greater rewards tomorrow. Think about Warren Buffett. He didn't build his wealth by chasing quick profits. He built it through patience, discipline, and a long-term perspective. That's how wealth grows, not in sudden leaps, but in steady, compounding gains. Fifth, the rich give. This may surprise you, but one of the most consistent habits among the wealthy is generosity. They tithe, they donate, they invest in causes greater than themselves. Why? Because giving keeps money in its proper place. It becomes a tool, not a master. Acting like the rich means recognizing that money is not just for consumption but for contribution. Now, here's the challenge. You don't need millions to start acting like the rich. You can begin today, right where you are, with what you have. If you have $10, you can choose to save $1. If you have 1 free hour, you can invest it in reading instead of scrolling. If you have a small income, you can still decide to build assets instead of chasing liabilities. It's about creating the mindset and habits now, so when wealth comes, and it will, you're ready to handle it. Because here's a sobering truth. Without the mindset of the rich, even if you win the lottery, you'll likely lose it all. That's why so many lottery winners go broke within a few years. They had the money but not the mindset. So, the question is, are you willing to start acting like the rich today? Not by flaunting wealth you don't have, but by developing the habits that create wealth over time. Because when you think like the rich, act like the rich, and stay disciplined like the rich, it's only a matter of time before you become rich, not just in money, but in wisdom, freedom, and purpose. In the next part, we'll explore the principle that ties everything together, persistence. Because no matter how big your dream, how small your start, or how disciplined your habits, without persistence, you'll never see the finish line. You can dream big, start small, and even act like the rich, but if you don't persist, you won't make it. Persistence is the bridge between desire and achievement. It's the difference between people who talk about success and those who actually live it. Here's the truth. Success rarely comes fast. We live in a world obsessed with speed, instant noodles, instant downloads, instant fame. But wealth and freedom are not instant. They require patience, consistency, and resilience. Persistence is what keeps you going when results are slow, when obstacles appear, and when everyone else quits. Think of Thomas Edison. He failed over 1,000 times before creating a working light bulb. When asked how he kept going, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 1,000 ways that won't work." That's persistence. Imagine if he had quit after 100 tries. We might still be in darkness. In the world of money, persistence looks like this. Continuing to save and invest even when the market drops. Continuing to learn even when you feel you already know enough. Continuing to work on your dream even when friends laugh at you. Continuing to say no to expenses even when people pressure you to live a little. The problem is, most people give up too soon. They start a business and quit after the first setback. They invest for a year and stop when they don't see quick returns. They set a financial goal but abandon it when life gets tough. Persistence is rare, and that's why success is rare. Here's something powerful. Persistence is not about intensity, it's about consistency. Anybody can be intense for a short while. You can go on a diet for a week. You can save money for a month. You can study hard for a season. But can you stay consistent for years? That's where persistence lives. Think of wealth like planting a tree. In the beginning, you see nothing. You water, you protect, you nurture, but months pass, and the ground looks unchanged. Most people give up here. But those who persist eventually see the seed break through the soil, then grow into a small plant, and finally into a mighty tree that produces fruit for generations. Persistence is the secret to compounding. Albert Einstein called compounding the eighth wonder of the world. But compounding only works if you give it time. Imagine you invest $500 every month. In the first year, the growth looks tiny. But give it 10, 20, 30 years, and suddenly, you're looking at hundreds of thousands, even millions. That's the reward of persistence. Now, here's the challenge. Persistence is not natural. Our brains are wired for comfort. We want pleasure now, not later. That's why so many people fail to persist. They confuse comfort with success. But persistence requires sacrifice. It requires doing what others won't so you can live how others can't. The good news is, persistence can be trained. Start with small commitments and keep them. Read 10 minutes a day. Save $5 a week. Work out twice a week. It's not about the size, it's about the discipline. Every time you keep a commitment, you build persistence muscles. Over time, those muscles grow strong enough to carry you through big challenges. Another key: surround yourself with people who persist. Persistence is contagious. If you spend time with quitters, you'll quit too. But if you spend time with fighters, with people who keep going despite difficulties, you'll find strength to persist as well. Let me remind you, persistence doesn't mean stubbornness. It doesn't mean refusing to adapt or change strategy. It means refusing to quit on the vision. You can change methods, but never the mission. You can adjust tactics, but never abandon the dream. Think of a river carving through rock. The river doesn't quit when it meets resistance. It flows, it bends, it adjusts, but it keeps moving forward. Eventually, it shapes valleys, canyons, and landscapes. That's the power of persistence. Now ask yourself, are you willing to keep going when it gets tough? Are you willing to persist through boredom, through setbacks, through criticism? Because if you are, nothing can stop you. Persistence is not glamorous. It's not flashy. But it's the invisible engine behind every great achievement. Without persistence, your dream remains a dream. With persistence, your dream becomes destiny. In the next and final part, we'll put everything together and talk about building generational wealth, the kind of wealth that doesn't just change your life, but the lives of your children and grandchildren. We've talked about thinking big, starting small, acting like the rich, and persisting through challenges. Now it's time to look at the bigger picture, building generational wealth. Because true success is not just about you, it's about creating a legacy that lasts beyond your lifetime. Most people think wealth is about living comfortably today. But the wealthy think differently. They don't just ask, how can I live well now? They ask, how can I create wealth that blesses my children, my grandchildren, and even generations I will never meet? That's generational wealth. It's not about luxury, it's about legacy. So how do you build generational wealth? Step 1. Shift from consumption to creation. Most people spend their money on things that disappear: food, clothes, gadgets, entertainment. There's nothing wrong with enjoying life, but if all your money goes to consumption, nothing is left to build a legacy. The wealthy focus on creation. They build businesses, buy properties, invest in stocks, acquire assets that continue to produce income long after they are gone. Creation is what ensures wealth outlives you. Step 2. Teach financial literacy to your family. Generational wealth is not just about passing down money, it's about passing down wisdom. Think about it. If you leave your children $1 million but no financial education, chances are they will waste it. But if you leave them $100,000 and the knowledge of how to multiply it, they'll never be poor. True inheritance is knowledge, discipline, and mindset. Money without wisdom is like giving a sword to someone who doesn't know how to wield it. It can do more harm than good. Step 3. Use systems, not emotions. The wealthy don't rely on luck or emotion to build wealth. They create systems. They set up trusts, investments, insurance policies, and long-term plans that ensure their money grows and transfers efficiently. They protect their wealth from taxes, inflation, and poor management. You may not be wealthy yet, but you can still think like this. Start by creating systems for saving, investing, and giving. Automate your investments. Create rules for spending. Protect your money with discipline. Step 4. Think in decades, not days. Generational wealth takes time. It requires patience. The oak tree you plant today may not give you shade tomorrow, but in 20 years, your children will enjoy its shelter. That's how wealth works. The earlier you start, the greater the impact. Even small investments, when given time, grow into something extraordinary. Step 5. Value freedom over status. Many people sabotage generational wealth by chasing status. They want the big house, the flashy car, the luxury lifestyle, not realizing these things often drain wealth instead of building it. The truly wealthy often live below their means. Warren Buffett still lives in the same modest house he bought decades ago. Why? Because he values freedom and impact over appearance. If you want to build wealth that lasts, stop trying to look rich and start working on becoming rich in reality. Here's the painful truth. In many families, the cycle of poverty continues not because opportunities don't exist, but because mindsets don't change. Parents teach children how to spend but not how to invest. They model financial survival, not financial growth. If you want to break this cycle, you must be the one to change. You must be the one to say, "It ends with me." From this generation forward, our family will know how to build, grow, and multiply wealth. But remember this, generational wealth is not just money. It's values, character, and vision. If you build wealth without building wisdom, the money will disappear. But if you build wisdom, even if the money disappears, your children will know how to build it back again. Let's make this practical. Start by asking, what do I want to pass down? Is it debt or assets? Struggles or opportunities? Fear or confidence? The choices you make today shape the future of your family. Every dollar you invest, every book you read, every discipline you practice is not just for you, it's for generations to come. Imagine this, 20 years from now, your child thanks you because the investments you made paid for their college. 30 years from now, your grandchildren start businesses funded by the wealth you created. 50 years from now, your family name is associated not with struggle but with strength, not with lack but with legacy. That's the power of building generational wealth. And here's the best part, you don't need to be rich to start. You just need to start. Begin with what you have, where you are. Teach your kids about money. Save consistently. Invest patiently. Give generously. Protect wisely. If you do these things, little by little, your legacy will grow. So here's the final question. Are you willing to live with discipline today so that your children and grandchildren can live with freedom tomorrow? Because if you are, you won't just change your bank account, you'll change your bloodline. The choice is yours. Dream big. Start small. Act like the rich. Persist through challenges. And build wealth that lasts for generations. That is how ordinary people create extraordinary legacies. If you're ready to change your life, hit that like button and comment below. Think big, start small, act like the rich. Your future begins the moment you declare it.